recording. All right. Okay. So we have gone over the ortho projection, 4-1, 4-2. Now we're going to work on 4-3. All right, so for 4-3, you're going to do a front, a top, and a left side view because it's facing towards the left. That's our plan. So it has a long side, therefore that's probably going to be the front. So the 4 inches, which it's inch, so that tells us that we don't need to change our limits, because it's only 4 inches wide, 2 inches tall, and 1.75 deep. So we're going to do a front, a top, and a left side view. Now, some people would say, well, it's got a hidden line on that view you're wanting to use for the front. Well, it also has the longest dimension, therefore that makes it the correct view to use. All right, P4-3. And remember, when you save your files, make sure it says AutoCAD 2018 drawing and not template file. DWG is what you want. Okay. So go back home. Like I said, we normally start with the front view. It's 4 wide, and you know, I just goofed up. Undo. All right. You got to make sure it goes straight. And 4. All right. Let's see. It's too tall. And then you got to come over 1.75. 1.75. And then you've got to come down something over here, and we don't know what the angle is because they give us the distance. So we'll just start another line and come up the 0.5 that we need to come up. And then I can connect this right here. Okay, that takes care of the front view. It's not done, but that's as much as I can do. So step 2, do we go with the top or do we go with the side? Well, I think I'm going to draw the top, so I need line. And I'm just going to hover over this guy, bring him up, and draw me a line. Lines up with this guy, like so. Or make it 4 long. And then I look at how deep it is. It says it's 1.75, so 1.75 deep. And then I'm just going to finish up my box. Yes, I could have used the rectangle command. That would work. Now it says that I've got a line parallel with this top one down 1/2 inch. So we're going to go to offset. Put in 0.5. Offset down. If you did the math, you could figure out that it's 1/2 inch up as well. And enter. Okay, that's all I can do with that one. Well, no, it isn't. I can draw this line up. So let's go line. And you could either draw it from here, or you can use your little object snaps and object tracking and all that good stuff to draw it up there. And then I'm just going to do mirror, and I'm going to pick the middle of this line and flip it up there like that. No, I don't want to erase them. I could have just drawn a line up here and then trimmed that out. That'd been fine too. All right, so now I need to draw a line that lines up with this over here. So I'm just going to come over And then I'm going to draw a line, the depth. Let's see, the depth is 175, 1.75. And the height is the same height as this guy, so I can just do this. And I'll just make me a box. Why not? Let's make us a box. So I could have used the rectangle command there. Now, in the book, what they would have done instead of drawing this, they would have drawn their miter line off of this corner. Well, I don't have a corner to go off of, so I'm just going to do my method, which is I drew the outline of this view, I've got this view, and I just make this connection here where they line up, and then I can go at 45, which is 135, that way. And see, if I were to draw a line from here over, see, it would line up. See, this is the front of the top view. This is the front of the side view. All right. So now I can draw lines. Over and down. Now make sure it doesn't do midpoint, that it does intersection. You got to make sure these things stay straight. All right, well then I could draw me a line over from here, like so. And now I need to figure out where is this line that's in here, this little surface. It's actually at 0.75 from the bottom. So if I go to offset, put in 0.75, then I can draw this line up here like so. And then I can go back and trim out some things. Like that. And get rid of those. Get rid of that. And there we go. Now, am I done? No, I'm not. I'm going to flip over to my hidden layer. And now I'm going to draw a line from this guy over here, because that's where that guy would go. And then I can draw a line from that intersection up to right there. And so you're saying, but that's not hidden line. No, I know it's not hidden, so I can pick the line, click on your layer, pull down, change it to object, hit escape. I'm still on the hidden line layer. And then I can trim, bless you, start getting rid of stuff that I don't need, like that. And voila, you have the views that you need. Mr. Doty makes it look so easy. I'm sorry, I can't help it. But that's one way you can draw it. And this is what you should end up with. So usually what happens is I have people that draw these lines down to here, they leave this line out, they forget to put a hidden line in, or they line it up with the bottom of here. Well, it's at a different height, so it looks like this. And the intersection here should match this line right here. So anyway, this is an inch drawing, so we'll go to the inch layout, activate your viewport, zoom all. Okay, what happens if I do zoom extents? There we go. Zoom extents works better. So we did zoom, Z, enter, E is in extents, or Edward, whichever way you want to go. And now I can change my scale to 1 to 1, and I don't have to move it. It's centered for me. So extents is kind of nice. It kind of centers things up. So now I can deactivate my space and go ahead and hit the save button and then update my fields, and boom. Save it again. All right, So that's how to do 4-3. Wow, Mr. Doty, you make it look so easy. It is. Now, here's the other something else to look for. Does your line type show up okay? Well, these hidden lines look good to me. The object lines are obviously fine. So, yeah, we're good. Now, later on, there's a thing called line type scale, or LTS, that we can adjust to fix if our lines don't show up the way we want them to, which when we get to the metric one, we'll have some issues. Okay, I'm pretty sure we skipped 4-6 and 4-4. Well, I know we skipped 4-4 and 4-5. We used to do 4-6, but I decided to do 4-8, so we're going to skip over to 4-7, but we'll just double check. So far, we've done the orthographic tutorial. We've done 4-1, 4-2, 4-3. So the next one we need to do is 4-7, then 4-8, then 4-11, then 4-12, 15, and 17. And then, like I said, Thursday will be a lab day. You can work on drawings or whatever you need to do. Okay, moving along, 4-7. Now, this is another one that people have fun with. I get a lot of interesting things on this one. So let's look at what we have here. We have this pyramid that has the top cut off. So it has a 1-inch square on top. It has a base that's a 2.75 square, and it has a tunnel cut through it. So we got a pyramid with a tunnel in it. Now, if you'll notice, it doesn't give you a width for the top of the tunnel roof. Okay? Well, that top of the tunnel is the same width as the top of this cut-off pyramid. That's the way I draw it. The bottom is 1.5 and the top would be 1 inch. Now that's going to cause some overlapping lines, and this is where line precedence comes into play. Do we overlap lines? No would be the correct answer.
No, we don't.
There you go. Little coercion there. Appreciate your play. All right, so let's look at this one. Guess what? This one's in inches as well. So what do you do with the limits? Nothing, exactly. But you do at least look at the size. How big is it? It's only 2.75, so it's small. Now, if it was like 10 or 12 inches long, yeah, then we probably want to make it a little bigger because it needs to scale down some on our paper. Or it would go on a larger sheet of paper. But our limits would need to be adjusted. Okay. Let's see what we want to do. Do we want to draw the front view first, or we do want to draw the top view? What do we want to do? You're like, well, don't you start with the front view? Well, you can. But you could also do this. It's a square. So what could you do? You could draw a square. You can go to your rectangle command. And let's imagine, oh, and by the way, this one's going to have a right side view because left and right side would be the same. So we're going to draw a right side view. So I could draw my top view up here like this. And you've got options of either typing in the relative other corner, or you've got options where you could type in 2.75 and then hit your tab command. And that'll take you over to the other dimension, which is 2.75, and hit enter. Alrighty. Okay, so if you were to look at this from the top, it's got a 1-inch square here in the middle somehow. Now, how am I going to get a 1-inch square in the middle? Very carefully is the correct answer. So I'm going to draw me a line. So you have, and if you wanted to, you could draw the other end of the X, or you could use your mirror command. Remember that mirror command is kind of handy. Go off the middle, pull it down. No, there you go. So the problem is I need a square. Well, I could use the polygon command. Really? Yeah, you could. You could use the polygon command. 4 sides is good. Center of the polygon is right here. Now, is it on the inside or the outside? Well, I would want it on the outside of my circle so that it has a 1-inch diameter, which will be a 1/2-inch radius when we use this silly thing. So I'm going to make it circumscribed on the outside, and I want a 1/2-inch circle. Well, look at that. Now, if I were to measure it, bless you. So if you go to measure and you do distance and then you pick and you pick, notice it has 1 inch is our distance. So that's pretty cool. Trim it out. We can get rid of this guy here. And there is a lot of our top view. Well, now I could come down here and I could draw my front view. So I could just draw a line across here like so. Make sure it's horizontal. And then I could draw a line down. And I could draw another line down. And I could draw another line down. You're probably wondering why I've not drawn it all the way down. Well, because I don't need to. You'll see why here in a second. All right. Let's see. I need the height. So the height of this thing is 2 inches. So he's a truncated pyramid, sort of. All right, so I'm going to go to offset, and I'm going to go with 2. And I'm going to offset this guy up 2, like so. Now, the reason that I drew these lines down is so that I could draw a line from, you know what? That doesn't look right. I think I messed up. Here, let's check this guy out. Yeah, I don't like him. Delete him. Let's draw another one. Oh, here, you know what? Let's do this. Let's just draw us a line from that intersection to right there. And then I need to trim this up so I can mirror it. I don't need that line anyway. Heck, I don't even need these 2 lines. Okay. I'm going to mirror this over. So I'm going to pick here, mirror. And I'm actually going to go up here to the top view and pull it down like that. No. And then I'm going to trim it out. Now, I could have easily drawn the line down and then drawn it over. That would have been fine. Like so. All right, well, there's part of our front view. The cool thing is if you were to take this and copy it and drag it straight over here, guess what? That's what the side view is going to look like, or at least the outline of it. So that's one way to figure it out. Okay, so now I need to draw this tunnel. All right, well, it says that it's 1.5 wide. So the easiest thing for me to do would be to draw a line from here to here, or however high up you want, doesn't matter, and then offset it half of 1.5. If you do the math, that's 0.75. So I'm going to type in 0.75, and I'm going to offset it on both sides. Now it also tells me that the height of it is 1 inch. So I can go in back into offset, do 1 inch. And if I thought about it, I would have stayed in there, but I didn't. Okay, so now the top of it is supposed to be the same width as this square up here. So I need to draw lines projected down to right here, and then I can go ahead and draw my side of my doorway or my tunnel. And I could have mirrored that over if I wanted to. It would have been fine. All right, these two lines don't need. Let's see, this line and this line. Delete, and I don't need this guy. All right, so now I can. Now, something else that you guys may not know is that you can actually edit lines without trimming them. You can actually like pick the grip. Sometimes it's easier to pick the grip and drag it over like this, like so. And then you can trim that out. All right, my front view is done. Now we can finish up the side view real quick. Go to hidden, draw you a line, start it here, drag it over to there, and then go to trim, like so. So how do I get the doorway up here? Well, I need a miter line, and I never had a corner to go off of, so I've already got a front and a side view. So now what? Well, we do it my way. You notice a theme here, right? So I'm going to, I haven't been able to use her method very well, and I have to go out of my way to make it work, and so I don't use it. As long as this line and the line here line up, it will work, and you'll have your miter line at 45 degrees there. So I can draw my line from here up and over. If I wanted to do the back, I can do the same thing. You can always mirror the back if you want to. So then what you have to do is you have to draw lines. And I should be in a different layer, so let's go back to object layer. So I need to draw from here up to there, and from here up to there, and then I can draw that line. And then I need to draw this guy, and then draw this guy. Oops. And then I can draw from there to there, and from there to there. So I drew over my construction line, and that's fine. No big deal. Now I can get rid of those. Honestly, I'm just going to mirror it once I fix it here. So I'm going to delete those, and I don't think I need this for anything, so we'll leave that alone. All right, trim, get rid of this. And now I can take these three lines right here, and I can just use the mirror command, and I can mirror them up here. Trim this out. Now, this is where people goof up. They don't listen. This line lines up with this edge right here, this line here. So when you see that you have hidden lines, which is we do, I cannot see the bottom of my tunnel line there, right? I can't see this tunnel line here. But this one goes from here to here, and here to here. Now, if you draw it from here down to here, make sure you trim out the hidden line underneath this solid line, because You don't overlap lines. You don't cross the streams. Bad things happen when you cross the streams. So don't cross or overlap the lines. Just ask Bill Murray. Okay. So we'll see how many people listen and didn't listen. Alrighty then. Now you'll notice that the lines still show up okay, even those short ones, they're doing well. If yours don't show up right, when you go over here, and so like I said, if you activate your viewport, Z, enter, E is in Edward for extents, it will center it up for you, and all you have to do is change the scale. And that works pretty well right there. Now, if I thought that that was too far apart, I'd rather do it over here. But I could come back over here, I could click on move, and I could scoot it down to where it was a little closer, like so. Notice I moved it straight over, I didn't move it up and down. This one I moved straight down, I didn't move it left to right. So now everything's still lined up. I can go back over here. If you want to center it, you can double click your middle mouse button, it'll do the same thing as zoom extents. And there we go. Now it's fairly well centered, kind of, sort of works for me. All right, that looks pretty good. So deactivate, twin powers, save it. This is P4-7. 92325. Okay. And then last thing you got to do is UP, update fields, enter, and then Control S to save it, or hit your save button up here. All right. Now remember, they don't overlap. So what happens if your lines, activate your viewport, if your lines don't show up correctly, what do? Well, what you do is you type in LTS, enter. And typically, inch drawings will be set to 0.5 or 0.75, anything that's less than an inch or less than 1. Metric drawings will be over 1, and they're usually above 6 to make them. Depends on the scale. So as you can tell there, mine changed, but I can still see them and they look good, so I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to deactivate. So remember, you double click out here in the gray, or you double click inside of your paper to activate, out here to deactivate, or you come down here with paper. It's paper and model down here to change between the two. All right. Questions on that one? So the top of your tunnel is the same width as your top of your pyramid that's cut off. Yes.
Yeah. I didn't quite get rid of the offset measurements for the tunnel top view. Sorry.
For which part?
The
roof or the side?
specifically to get these lines where they go specifically.
Like to center it up?
Just to make sure that the right height, so it's not like, you know.
Oh, how I projected to get it?
Sorry about that.
No. If you don't ask, we don't know. Okay, so that's fine. That's why we ask questions. All right. We'll just Now here's something you don't, so you notice that this is still hooked together. Whoopsie. So I'm going to hit explode so I can fix that. There we go. All right. Well, anyway, now I can delete what I want to delete. So, yeah, you can edit things like polygons, but you got to be careful. Sometimes when they're not hooked, it doesn't work. All right. There's that. Okay. So, basically, this is where we were at, where we were trying to figure out how to draw the tunnel up there. So what I did is I drew a line from here up, like so, and then you draw a line over to where it meets it, and then you put in your miter line, which is at 45. Okay? So you got your miter line in there. Here, I'll turn it on to there. Okay. There we go. Got my miter line. All right, so I'll just put this on so you can see it better. So then if I draw a line from here at the edge of the top of the tunnel up to my miter line and then over, like that, and I don't know that it's on the middle of it, but I'm just going to draw it on over here to make sure it's right. And then to get the back of it, you could do the same thing. You could just draw this up here and then draw this over like that. And then to get the rest of the shape, what you have to do is project your lines up from the bottom. So like here's the top of it, that would go to there, and that would go to there, like so. If you wanted to trim it up or edit it, you could pick your grips and drag it over like that. You could use trim if you want to. All right. So there's the top of it. So I can get rid of these two lines. All right. So now we need to project this point up and this point up. So we'll just draw us a line. So I'll draw it up to here, and then I can continue up to there, like that. Then come down here, draw this straight up, and then to there. I don't need these two lines, so we'll delete them. And then I can just trim this out right here, like so. Oops. Okay. I'll delete that off, get rid of those, get rid of that. Okay. So you can either mirror this up to the top, or you can draw it again, and you can just project these lines up to where you need to go. Just make sure that your overlapping lines go away, and you'll be fine. Now, the cool thing about this line here, drawing this from here up to here, is I could actually pick these two lines, and I could change them to hidden, and I'm already partially done. Anyway, so I'll go to line, and I will draw a line from here to here, and from here to here. And like I did earlier, I can go into trim this out. Just have to be careful so I don't pick the wrong line. Sometimes you have to zoom up, to make things do what you want it to do. And I'm not going to trim these out because it might mess things up. So I'm just going to delete them for right now, because it's easier if you do this and go back and go into hidden, and then just draw your line from here and here, here, and there. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
And then the last thing would be to trim that guy out. Probably still went too fast. Sorry.
So
So that's our pyramid guy. So that's, let's see, 4-7. We're going to leave it where I can see it right here. Make sure it's saved. All right. Now, I know it says draw 3 views. I know Mr. Anderson's video draws 3 views for 4-8. I don't want you to draw 3 views. I only want 2. Remember we talked about, sometimes you don't need the 3 views. Well, we don't need the 3 views. And you'll notice that on the original drawing you're given here, this isometric, that it has a bunch of lines on it, vertical lines. Those are for shading. They basically took a 3D drawing and it does that with shading. We don't show that, okay? So there's no extra lines. So I'll explain what I mean. So for this one, let's look at the size. So it's 6 inches long. Well, actually it's bigger than 6. It's actually 7. It's 9 inches long. But we're not drawing a side view. So since we're not drawing a side view, we got enough width. And then the height is, let's see, so you've got 3 inches tall, and then the biggest you have is a 2-inch radius, which is 4. So 4 and 3 is 7. It's still going to fit. Or it's close enough that it's not going to mess with you, so you can just fit it on there without having to change the limits. I mean, if you wanted to change the limits, you could. You can make it a hair bigger. But really, honestly, it should work fine. Okay, so how do you start this one? Well, the easiest thing to do on this one is to actually draw the top view, or what I'm considering the top view. And Mr. Anderson calls this like the window crank, because it kind of looks like an old school window crank. For those of you who know what an actual window crank looks like, because most cars now don't have it. You got the nice little button where it goes down.
Still make cars with it.
Yeah, there's a few. But I'm just saying it's very few and far between. But anyway, so so this shape here we're going to draw up. What's the easiest thing to do? Well, we know that from the center of the circular part that kind of looks like a stacked cake, kind of like a wedding cake, over to the other end of the base, the center of that radius is 6. So you could draw you a line and make it 6 long, like so. Now, later on we're going to put in center lines and center marks, so I'm not worried about what line type it is. I just want to draw some stuff. Okay, so, well, the base shape has a 2-inch radius on this side, so we'll go with radius circle. And we'll go with 2. And on the other end, which if I go back into circle, it defaults to radius, so I'm good. And we'll do 1. Now remember, you can go line, and then you can type in TAN, enter, and then you can pick tangent. And then you can either type in TAN, enter again, or you can shift right click. You can pick tangent. And I'm going to do the same thing again. You can do shift right click. You can do tangent, pick tangent. I can type in TAN, enter, tangent. And I know it's tangent. It didn't go to the quadrant. It went to the tangent. How do I know? Well, when I go in to trim this out, it makes a nice smooth transition. See? Nice smooth transition. And I really don't need this guy anymore, so I'm going to delete him out. Okay, so I've got the base shape right here. Well, then I could come down here to the bottom and I could draw me a line from here down and come over. And if I wanted to, I could highlight here in the middle of this, bring it down. Or if I did the math, I could say it's 9. I know it's 9. And then the thickness for that base is 1, so I could go up 1 and then draw it back over to here, like so. And I'm just going to trim that off. All right, so there's the base, there's the front view, here's the top view. All right, the next shape that I need is my second level of my cake on this end. So I'm going to go do a diameter circle off of, if you hover over the edge of it, you can find the center of it. And I'm in diameter mode, so it says 2.5, 2.5. And there's the second one. Okay. Well, down here on the front view, the next level up is another inch up, so I could offset 1, offset this up like that. And then I could draw my lines from the quadrants down to here. Quadrant to here. And then if I want to do some now, it doesn't matter. Anyway, you can go to trim. I'll start up here because I want to get rid of these first. And then I can do my little fence and do that. All right, well, we got the last level of our little cake thing here, or our window crank. And it has a diameter circle off the center of this. It says it's 0.75. And it is also an inch off of here, or it's 3 inches from the bottom. Whichever way you want to go, it's the same thing. So I already have an inch set, so I'll just hit enter and offset this guy up. And then I can draw my lines down from here. Okay. There's my views. However, I need to put in center lines, center marks. So what I need to do is I need to change my layer. And then I need to go over to annotate. And this one's in inches, so I don't need to make any changes. I can just click on center mark, and I don't need to pick each one of these. I just need to pick the biggest one. And then I need to pick this guy. And so in the book, they have these two connected. You can do that if you want to. I just hit enter to finish it out. Like if you pick on these, you'll notice that they have grips. So like you could pick this grip and drag it over to here. And then that would make them all one like that. Or if you want to leave them separate, you can. It's fine. Notice that they go a specific distance out from there. Okay. So now we need to do our center lines. Well, I don't have any way of getting this one over here because I don't have anything to hook onto. So we're going to have to do make some geometry to make it work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this line right here and this line right here to start with. And then I'm going to go back over here to home and I'm going to draw me a line from here down to here. Now you're probably saying, well, why didn't you just draw that in? Well, then I'd have to make sure it's an 1/8 inch past the edge of this line, an 1/8 inch past the edge of this line, when all I have to do is go to this guy right here, copy, and then pick this intersection right here at the top, and this intersection right here, and I've got my center line in the right spot. That works pretty well. So there's an issue with this one right here now, is it's not long enough. All right, so you'll notice that we have some grips. These are the extension grips. Notice it says 0.12. Well, on metric drawings, that extension will be 3 or 6 or 9 or 12, depending on the scale. On inch drawings, it could be 0.12, it could be 0.25, but regular, usually 1-to-1 scale, it's 0.12, and then we can adjust it if we need to. Now, if you adjust the square grip, you adjust where the end of the line goes, or where the extension starts from. So I just picked that square and brought it down from this line down to this line. And that is correct. Mr. Anderson puts in these extra lines, and those are called tangent edges, and we don't show those. And he has since understood what the issue was. He didn't realize that he had done that. And that's okay. We all goof up occasionally, and even the best of us mess up, right? I mess up too. So, but that's what you should end up with. Now, this one's probably not going to fit at a 1-to-1 scale. So let's see what happens. That's a decent amount of space between the two. I mean, we could move them closer together if we wanted to, like so. The thing is you're going to have to put a dimension from here to here, up above this, one from here to here. So you kind of need some space between the two. So I'm going to undo that and leave it right there. All right, so go to inches. And then if you double click, no, I'm sorry, don't double. Well, yeah, I wanted to double click. Hang on. Oh, I double clicked the wrong button. Sorry. Left click, double click. There we go. Then you can zoom extent, Z, enter, E, enter. And you'll notice that whenever you change your scale, it says 0.77. If you go to 1-to-1, just a bit too large. Then you go to 1-to-2. Not too bad. It's a little small, but there's not a 1.5-to-1. So you have to go from 1-to-1 to 1-to-2. And that works. And so I'm going to deactivate my thing. And this is where, if I was really picky, I could adjust that extension and make it actually a 1/4 inch, because I scaled it down, half the size that it was. But I think it looks okay as is. It's not a big deal. Okay, so I've got it scaled. I need to save it. This one is P4-8. And then don't forget to update your fields. Update UP, enter, and then pick, and then hit enter and resave it. Okay. Are you good to go, Aaron? You go over anything else? Okay. Well, just stop me if I know I go fast. It's okay for you guys to say, "Hey, Mr. Diller, slow down. Slow down, Speedy." the good thing is, you know, I'm recording it, so you could go back and watch the video if you want to, and put it at quarter speed or something, or I don't know. Anyway, but that's that one. 4.8. All right. Let's see what else we got here. We're not doing 4.9. We're not doing 4.10. Aha. Now comes the fun. And why do I say here comes the fun? Because the next one is metric. So when we look at 411, it's on 4-62, page 4-62. You got this L-shaped thing with this cylinder with a hole in it sticking out from it. And then it has another hole in the L base. And then it has a little slot cut in the side of the L bracket there. That's an interesting looking part. But the most interesting thing is the fact that it's in metric. So what does that mean? Well, that means that we finally have to do something with some limits. So how do I figure out how big of an area I need? Well, I don't know if you remember, but when I changed limits in the other drawings, I always made a square. So don't think of a rectangle, just think of a square. So like, we're going to do 3 views on this one, okay? So it's 110 wide and it's 55 deep. So that's 165. Well, I need some space in between. So if I said that it was 200 wide, then I could just say 200 tall would definitely cover the area, right? So I'm going to make it 200 by 200. And that's just my way of doing it. So how do I change the limits? Well, first of all, you got to go to limits. And the first corner is always 0, 0. So you just hit enter. And then the next one, it says 12, 9. Well, we're going to change that. We're going to type in 200, 200, and then hit enter. Now what? Well, always remember that once you set your limits, if you change them, always do a zoom all or a zoom extents, and it'll zoom out to where you want to be. You could probably also double click your middle mouse button, you know, your scrolly button, and that will also do like a zoom extents as well.
Can you show how to set the limits again?
Yes, sir. You just type in limits, L-I-M-I-T-S, or you can go up to the pull-down menu under Format and go to Drawing Limits, but I usually just type it in. So limits, come on now, L-I-M-I-T-S. All right, the bottom corner is always 0, 0, so you just hit enter, and then you put in the next corner, which would be the one we changed to 200 by 200. So I just type in 200, 200, and just hit enter. And then, like I said, just do a zoom extents or zoom all, and then it'll get you out. Z enter, E enter, and now you're ready to draw. So always check your limits, or think about your limits before you start drawing. Do I need to change them? The default's 12 by 9. If it won't fit in the 12 by 9 space, then I need to go bigger. And so then you just type in limits, hit enter to go past the 0, 0, because that's your first one. Change it to the number you want, hit enter, and then do a zoom all or zoom extents, and you're good to go.
And what does changing the limits do? Because the drawing
Well, if you don't
strange.
change the limits, it won't let you draw outside of a certain size. it'll quit letting you draw. It defines the area for AutoCAD so that zoom works right, and it basically tells AutoCAD, okay, you want to use this much space, so this is where I can zoom in and out with no issues, and I can draw, they can draw in this area. Used to, the limits didn't mean as much, but for some reason now, once you get so far out of the limits that are set, it won't draw. Literally will quit drawing. You'll try to draw a circle and it won't let you, or you'll draw a line and it won't let you click the end point. So
Okay. Thank you.
you have to adjust them. That's why. Anyway, but that's a good question. Why do you do this? Well, if you don't, they won't let you draw. Now, there's some times where it'll let you go a certain amount out of the limits and work, but then after a while, it'll be like, oh, nope, sorry, that's too far. You've gone too far. You must pay the penalty. Okay, so we're ready to go, and now I guarantee that somebody is going to try to draw the left side of this. Well, let's think about it. If I draw the left side of this, then the bottom of that L, the horizontal bottom of that L, of the top part of the L there, the bottom of the top, that bottom line there, if you look at it from the side, it's going to be hidden. But yet, if you were to look at it from the other end, from the left end, you're going to see both of those edges as solid lines. And, if you're not sure about that, that doesn't help you guys at home, but if you look at it, you see that these are solid, these are solid lines, but if you flip it this way, you only have one solid line. There's a hidden line back here. So, how do we pick which is which? Which one we do? We pick the one that has the least amount of hidden lines. And in this case, the way this is oriented that we're shown, it would be the end closest to the cylinder. Okay, so that's how I'm going to approach drawing it up. And for this one, what you want to do, let's see. I'm not going to worry about line type scale yet, but I am going to go ahead and let's draw our L. Why not? That's the easiest thing to do for the front view. And since I said I'm going to do a right view, then I can just kind of start somewhere here on the screen. And the bottom of it is a 20. And let's see. You got 50, and then you got 15, and probably should have gone the other direction. So we'll just go over here and draw this side. So let's see, that's 50 up. And then the whole thing is 110. And then we come down to 15. Then we got to go over, and then if I were to hover over this guy for a little bit, and then come back up and hit U because I clicked up, got click happy. There we go, and like so. Now, could I have also used offset? Yes. I could have drawn the top L and just used offset to offset it down and around and made the L shape. All right, so I got my L shape. That's cool. That's about all I can do for right now. So let's see. I can work on the top view. So let's see. What can we do? I think I'm going to use a rectangle. And I'm going to hover over this guy, come up here. It doesn't matter how far, but I'm going to make a rectangle. And it needs to be 110 by 55. So I can either do at 110, comma 55, like that, or I could have typed in 110, where it had the dimension up here at the top, hit tab, and then typed in the other one. Anyway, there's that. So this surface here will be seen as a hidden line up here. So I could go ahead and put that in. So we'll go to hidden. We'll draw us in a hidden line. Now something fishy is going to happen here. What kind of fishiness happens? Looks like I can't see anything. All right, so looks like I got really tiny lines here. Wow. So how do we fix that? Well, it's actually pretty easy. LTS, which is line type scale. And like I said, metric line type scale is going to be larger than 1. How much bigger? Well, you don't want it to be 25.4, which is the actual equivalency between inch and metric, right? That's your scale factor. Go ahead, you're good. All right, so what I usually do is I start out with something like 6, maybe 12, and see what that looks like. So like, let's try 6. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, well, I'll hit enter and go back into it. We can try 12, and that looks pretty good too. Thank you. All right, so everybody got to do their job, so gotta be nice to people. Anyway, so we got our hidden line, we got it fixed, we did line type scale, we changed it to, like I said, I used 12. You can't see it on the screen there, but that's okay. You can at home, and you can later on when you watch the video. So there you go. All right, so I got that hidden line there, so that's cool. The next things that I could figure out is I've got this hole. It says it's 35 off of here. So let's offset over 35. Or, some of you guys might do it this way. It's in the middle. You could just draw you a line from the middle over 35. And, that's where your circle is going to be, the center of it. You're like, well, how'd you figure that out? Well, I don't know. 27.5 looks like it should be in the middle. Let's see, 27 and 27 would be 54, plus the 1 would be 50. Oh, look, that's 55. So yeah, there we go. So it's in the middle, so you could just draw the line over and do that. You could offset over the 35 and do it. You could also do it the cool way and go up here to your diameter circle. You could hover over this middle line right here and just move your line over and type in 35. And Mr. Doty does it the mystery way, and 18. It doesn't matter how you get there, right? So you could offset over 35, you could draw a line from the middle of the line over 35, or you can use your O-tracking and do it as well. Now that's not supposed to be hidden, so I should probably fix it and put it on the object layer. Now come on now. There we go. And object layer. Now that I'm not on the object layer, that's just I put that on the object layer by picking it, but I need to go back to the object layer. And now I got another circle I got to find, which it looks like is 80 from over here. So like I said, you could offset over 80 like this. Except it can't, because that's not been exploded, right? See, I forgot to go in and explode that guy, so I'm going to explode him. So that's where the offset, when you'd be like, hey, Mr. Doty, if you offset, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, which circle did you just draw? Like, which circle on
The little one, the one by itself.
the 18 diameter one,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Now I'm going to draw the 46 and the 16 over on the other side. Yeah, you just come in 35 off of this edge, either offset it over, draw you a line over, however you want. As long as it's 35 over, it's right there. You're good. Okay, so I'm going to use, let's see, offset. Yep. Offset 80. And let's see. So I can draw two circles here. And let's see, there's a 16. And then I'm going to not hit enter, because if I do, it will go back to radius. So I'm going to go back up and hit diameter. I just about did it. And this one is 46. And then I can delete this guy out. So this one over here was 18 on the left, and then this one, the little one here, is 16, and then the big one is 46. And this view is almost done, so that's pretty cool. All right, so how do I get this stuff down here? Well, for one thing I can do is I can go to hidden, change my layer to hidden, go to line, and then you can just project down like so. And since I fixed my line type scale, it looks right. And then you can just trim it off. So I'm going to do a precise trim. So I'm going to pick that line, click on trim. There we go. How we doing? Okay. So now what do we want to do? Well, I kind of need to draw this guy because he's a boss. He sticks up from here and he's actually not hidden. So I guess I got to go back to object lines. And so I need to draw this down to here and this one down to here. And then it says that it is 35 tall off of this line. And I don't need to explode anything, so I can just go to offset, 35, and somewhere, pick. Here we go. Let's see. I'll just do that. Okay. Now this hole goes all the way through. If you don't see a note that says, it gives it a little depth, you assume it goes all the way through. Yes, sir.
What line did you offset just now?
The top of the L right here.
Oh, I see it. And then you offset it 35.
Yep, it goes up 35. That gives you the top of the boss. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my hidden lines for the hole up in the middle of that down. I got to change layers. Now you'll notice that I'm drawing it all the way down to the bottom. It does not stop at the L. It goes all the way through the L. How do I know? Because there's nothing that says how deep is the circle, the hole. How deep is it? So if you don't have a depth given, you have to automatically assume, even though assuming is never good, but in this case it's okay. You can pretty much determine that, oh, well, that means that that goes all the way through. So you draw it all the way through. Now, obviously, I need to trim this up a little bit. So I'm just going to use my grips and drag it down. Or you can use the trim command. Perfectly acceptable either way. And this one's almost done. All right. So now we've got our side view. We're not done with all of them. There's something that needs to be fixed on each one of these two views, but we have a majority of it. And so we can kind of project things over. So this one also does not have a miter line option. So how do you draw a miter line off of it? Well, honestly, it's actually pretty easy. You could draw it over whatever distance you want and then go up at 45 like so. Like, well, how do you know where the other view is? Well, it's pretty simple. You change this back to object line, and if you go to line, this line will be the front of your side view right here. Okay. And then you can draw a line over here like so. Okay. And then you can project the top of, or the back of your object here. Project this over. Project it down. Like that. And then, we can do some trimming here. Like that. And so there's the depth of it. See, same as this. And then we can start drawing some lines in because we can project things over. Like we can project this over. Like so. And we can project this over like so. And see, the reason that I want to draw this view is so that I would see both of these edges. Because from this side, this edge has to come through here, which makes it hidden. So this has one less hidden line than the left side would. So that's why we're drawing this view. All right, so I don't need those. Don't need those. There we go. Okay, so how in the world am I going to get this down here? Well, for one thing I can do is I can draw this guy over. And then I can just project this one over and project it down. Just make sure they keep straight, keep horizontal, keep vertical. And then bring it down. So we projected this over to our miter line and down. And then we can go in and trim like so. All right. And then, just change over to a hidden line. And we can do the same thing. Draw this over to here. And since this one went all the way down on the front view, it goes all the way down on the side view. Make sure when you come over here, you hit the intersection and not the midpoint on that guy. Or at least I got too close. All right, now, here's the thing. You're also going to see this hole here behind, looking from behind. This hole and this hole are not the same width. This one's bigger. But it only goes from here down to here. So when you draw your lines, you need to keep that in mind. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to draw your line from here, lock it into there, bring it all the way down, and bring it all the way over here, and bring it all the way down. And then we have to look at it and go, okay, well, it only goes from here to here, so I need to trim out this line here and right there. And then the rest of this I can just delete. And see, so this line, this is the hole behind it that just goes through the L bracket part. Yes, sir. See you later. Is that not Evan? Is that somebody else?
Sorry.
That was
you?
no.
Oh, not you. Sorry. You're fine. It's somebody else apparently. Did you have a question? Josh, what you mean?
Do we still need the 45-degree line for the key tunnel?
Down here?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually we do. So that's a good point. So what Josh is saying is I should have left my thing up here. Well, let's see if this works. OOPS. Oh, look at that. Well, that fixed. Good. All right. So easy fix, but thank you. Thanks for reminding me. So yes, actually I still need this because I still have to draw this little cutout on the L shape. So that's a very good point. So I'm going to use offset because it works. 15. And then it says 40. And it's 20 tall. And then we got to do some trimming, which I'm going to just use grips because I can. There we go. All right. So yes, I do need to project this up into here. So that's a good point. So it is going to be a hidden line up here, which is cool. So I'm already there. So yeah, we'll draw this up. So we'll just reverse our course and go up from there to there. And then we'll do this guy right here. And like so. And like I can reverse to using the goofy trim command sometimes, we'll just edit with the grips. Like that. You could have trimmed it out. It worked. It's fine. Okay, now. I think I can get rid of it now. But just in case, I'll just delete these two lines. Just in case. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I need to put it over here. So I need another hidden line to show what it looks like if I'm looking at it from the front view. And then we can trim it out. Okay. Alrighty then. So the only thing missing now are what? Center lines and center marks. Now, this one's metric. I mentioned something about changing a setting before you put these in. How many people are going to change the setting? I feel like not a lot. But anyway, I'm going to show you the right way to do it, and then I'm going to show you how to fix it if you don't do it that way. Well, it's not the right way. It's the better way. Let's just say that. If you think ahead and you actually change the settings, it works better. But I guess it's one or the other. So go to annotate. We're going to use these two guys here. But before we do, we need to type in center. And when you type in center, you get some options. Center EXE is what I want, which actually comes up first. And it says enter a new value for center EXE. You'll notice it's set to 0.12. Well, that is like 1/8 of an inch. Well, we're in metric. That's pretty small. 0.12 is, that's 0.12 of a millimeter in this case. So that's pretty short. So what is the equivalency from 1/8 to metric? Well, if you do the math, if you take 0.125 and you multiply it by 25.4, you get 3, or you should get 3. So 0.125, because probably 0.12 will give you something less than that. But anyway, 0.125 converted to metric is 3, or that's what we use for it. So depending on what your scale is, you're going to make it 3. If you think it's going to be a half scale, you make it 6. There's one, the last one you're going to draw that's metric, it's actually quarter size. So it's 1/4 the size that it really is on the sheet of paper. So then you have to make that bigger. See, because you're actually scaling it down, so you have to make the stuff that's inside of it bigger. You know, like set the extensions or dimension sizes, that kind of thing. So anyway, this one will work 1-to-1. And I will show you how it works. So do not scale this less than 1-to-1. So what do we want to set this to? Since I said the 1-to-1 scale would be 3, that's what you set it to. Now, if you forget, I'll show you how to fix it. So I'm going to make it 3. Did I beat that dead horse enough? Maybe. Okay, so how do you do that again? It's center CEN, and then it's center EXE is the one you're looking for. So that's good. You want to have metric, so it needs to be 3. We got it set to 3. And now, when you do your center mark, oh wait, hang on. Got to be on the right layer. Let's go to the right layer. The ironic thing is it's going to make it into a center line. It just won't be on the right layer. All right, so center line layer, then go back to annotate and hit your center mark. For these two, you only need to pick the bigger circle, and then you need to pick that circle. And that's it. Go to center line, and then you pick this line and this line. Hit enter, go back and pick these two. And then just pick these two, and you'll be fine. Like so. That covers both of them. So what happens if you didn't change center EXE and you have to go back and fix it? Okay, here's what you do. You pick on whatever it is, so like the same thing. So I have 2 center marks. Then you go, you guys would right click because I have properties already up over here, see? But you would right click, not on top of one of the grips, by the way. Right click, you'll get a menu. Then you'll click on properties. It'll open up and you'll look for extension, left, right, top, and bottom. Notice these are set to 3. What if you needed to set them to 6? Then you type in 6, enter, 6, enter, oops, not 66. Enter, 6, enter, 6, enter, and that would change it to whatever you needed to change it to. So I'm going to change it back to 3, 3, and I got to go back and fix that first one. 3. All right. So there's supposed to be 3. But that's how you can change them, by picking them, right clicking, not on a grip, go to properties, it pops up, and then you can make the adjustments like so. Now, do all of my lines show up right? Yeah, because I already messed with it, right? LTS. I set it to 12. Looks pretty good to me. Well, let's see what it looks like on the metric template layout. So I need to activate, and then I'm going to Z enter, E enter, because that'll center it up for me. And then I will set it 1 to 1. There it is. Not too bad. Now, when we get to dimensioning, we're going to have to scoot this guy up a little bit more because we got dimensions down here. We're not going to put a dimension up here. We might pull it over here, but we'll see. And you have to go in between, or I may put it over here. But there's still well, there's going to be a dimension in between here, so I'll have to have a little extra space. So we'll scoot this view up a little bit, but we're not going to do it right now. This is fine. This looks good. 1 to 1. That's what we want. And we're good to go. And we need to save it. P4-11 -923.25. And then we need to update. So UP, enter, pick window. There you go. Then save it again, and you're good to go. All right. Any questions on that one? So line type scale, I set it to 12. Your center EXE, you need to change that to 3. Or after you put them in, change them individually. So you remember when you want to modify them, you pick just the center lines, and then right click, not on the grip, properties, and then it has start extension, end extension. Okay, that one's 3, so I'm good. But if I needed to change it, then I could. To get the other one, you would hit escape without being over properties, and that would deselect, and then you would go in and pick these guys, right click, go to properties. You can right click anywhere on the screen once you select them, and then they have 4 extensions that you would adjust if you needed. Okay, so any questions on that one? All right. The next one is 4-12. You'll notice it's in inches, but this one's got some interesting things on it that are kind of fun, and we'll get it figured out. So just start another drawing. I'm going to go ahead and save this one. That way I'm ahead of the game. Let's see. P 4-12 92325. Okay. All right. So this one, it kind of looks like a bracket. Kind of looks like what's on the front of my Jeep that I put the tow bar on. Real similar to it, except my holes for the tow bar up there are centered. But anyway, so what would you do first? What do you think? You draw the front view first? Probably. So we could do that. So we need to think about our limits. So it's 5.5 wide, 3 deep. So that's 8.5 wide. So that's still room. It's 4.5 tall by 3, so 4.5 and 3 is 750. So yeah, it's still going to fit okay. So you don't really have to change the limits on this one because you've got plenty of room. AutoCAD's going to be happy. It's going to let you draw. It's going to zoom and pan and not have any issues, which is why you have to pay attention to your limits. Not a big thing. So I can just go ahead and start drawing. So I can go to home, go to line. Let's see, looks like it's 5.5 long. And it's 0.62. And let's see. Well, they start going on the other side, so I kind of started drawing on the wrong side. That's okay. I'll just draw my box here and do that. And then we'll just we'll go with offset. Why not? Let's see. The first offset is 156, 1.56. And let's see, the second one is 219, so click on that, 2.19. And then the third one is 3.31. And the fourth one is 3.94. All right. Now, some people get confused. They think that the 4.5 is from the bottom of the part, and I did say 4.5 tall. Well, it's actually 4.5 plus 0.62 if you're actually looking for the real total length. So I have some people draw it where they have the length of that vertical piece at 4.5, and some people draw the whole thing 4.5. Well, it's really 4.5 plus 0.62. So I could actually click on this guy and do 4.5, and that would be the top of this. Not 4.5 from here, but 4.5 from here. All right. Go into extend and you hold down your left mouse button. You can use the fence and see you can hold down shift, and guess what? You can go in and trim all in the same command. See, I'm actually in extend, but if you hold down shift, it goes into trim. If you're in trim, you can hold down shift and go into extend. Kind of cool. All right, so there we go. There's as much of the front view as I want to mess with. Okay, this one we're going to do a right side because the left side looks the same except, you know, reversed. So we could do part of this. So we can, oh, here's something else you can do. So what if you were to just grab these, go to copy, and just copy it over here like, oh, I don't know, somewhere in there, like that. What'd you do that for? Well, because I can. And then what if you went to offset and you did 3? Boom, boom, and 3, like that. And then you went in and trimmed, held down shift, and extended. I started doing that this time. That's pretty cool. All right. So there's the base, and then I didn't really need to trim that off. Yeah. Oh well. Then I could draw me a line. Since this will be the top of it, draw it over to here, and we can do our extend. There we go. And then trim. I should have held down shift. That's okay. Alright, so there's that. Now there's a hole over here. It says it's 3 inches from there, so we'll just go offset 3. And let's see, 238 from over here. So 238, 2.38. Okay, and it says it's 2x, which means it's 2 times, diameter 1 inch. Okay, so that means 1 inch diameter, so diameter hole, circle, and 1. And then we can get rid of that guy. We need that guy. Okay, so the book is missing a line for the top of the chamfer there on the one, which would be the chamfer right here. Or actually, it's the top line that's missing. So I need to put a 45-degree angle chamfer right here. Because you'll notice the next one up says 4x space 0.50 space x space 0.50. Now, why am I doing it like that? Because I want you to understand that if the x is right next to it, it means multiply 4x, 4 times. If it has a space in between, that's, this by this. That means it's a distance, it's a size. So I need a 0.5 by 0.5 chamfer on the 4 corners that form these vertical pieces here. So I'm going to go under fillet. It's not fillet, it's fillet. Go to chamfer, and then I'm just going to put in distance because it gives me 0.5 by 0.5. And basically all you do is you pick this line and then pick this line. Hit enter, do the same thing. And then you can draw you a line over like so. And then do your trimming like so. And that gets that in there. Okay, well, I can draw my hole over here now. So I need to go to the hidden lines. I need to go to line and draw me a line from here over to here. Like so. And then we can do some trimming. And there are those 2 holes, which is that. Because it said 2 times 2x. So there's one there, one there. All right. So I can't do much else until I get the top view in. And again, I don't have a corner to go off of like she did on the first one. So this is what I do. I would draw a line up. I would draw it at 45 degrees. And then you can draw your line over. And there's the front of your top view. And then I can draw me a line up and over. Like so. Now I'm going to change the object line layers to draw some stuff, and I'm going to grab these 2, change them over to that layer because I want to. All right. So there is the front and the back of the top view, and then we can start bringing stuff up. Okay, now you can go trim. hold down your left button, you can just, use a fence and trim around. Okay, looks like I don't need those 2 lines, but we're not going to get rid of our miter line because we're not done yet. Oh no, look, there's more. So I know I'm going to have some hidden lines because I've got these holes that are right there up here. So I can go to draw my lines and bring them up. And you'll notice that I use quadrant quite a bit. It works pretty well. All right, so trim, trim, trim in between there, and trim between there. All right, so there's that. Okay, so in the top view, you've got 4 holes. Why do I know there's 4 holes? Well, if you look at the note, it says 4x diameter 0.5. So that means there's 4 times that size. So you can see 3, so obviously there's one in the far corner behind everything. So since I can see them in the top view, I'll draw up there first. And the funny thing was, that was one of my first dimensions was 0.62. And I didn't draw it in yet because I didn't really need it. Well, you can kind of automatically assume, but I guess we'll just go ahead and draw it in. So it's 4.48. 4.80. It helps if you do it right. How about 4.88? 4.88. There it is. Get rid of that line. Okay. So then it's 0.62. So offset again, 0.62. And this time I'm going to do up and down. And we need to draw us a circle. Diameter circle, 0.5, 0.5. And it needs to be on the right layer. So we'll put it on the right layer. All right, and so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the copy command so I don't have to draw it 15 times. And I'm just going to go copy, 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 enter. And I'm going to do that. All right, so now what do I have left? I just need to put these guys down here and over here. So we go to line, going to project it down. Then we're going to go over. And we're going to go down, over, and down. And over, and down. This time I'm going to do some precise trimming. And I'm going to pick those first and then go to trim. So that way when I do that and I do that, it goes where I want. Now, is there any reason I need to keep this spider line? I don't think so. Oh, wait. Yes, there is. Okay. So I'm missing my chamfer lines for up here, which is one of the lines that's missing in your book. So let's change it back to object line, go to line, and then draw this up and over Yeah. Make sure that cut. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to actually do some precise trimming because I want to trim. Okay. All right, so let's look at it. We got the hole here. We got these two holes here. We got these 4 holes up here. We've got them shown here and here, and here and here. Got our chamfer showing. All right, so now you're just going to go back over to center, go back over to annotate, pick your center marks. Now the problem with this one is it's a little big when you get all 3 views, spaced and everything, like so. Sort of looks okay. All right, and then we can go to our center lines. So we need a center line here. Uh-oh. Center line's not showing up. That's not good. And then we need a center line for here. Hi. What can I do for you? Do what? Oh, okay. Thank you. Let's see. And so then we can. All right. So we got center line, center line, center line, center line. Oh, we got to do these down here. So let's go back into there. Okay, now since I can't see those, even though it's on an inch drawing, like I said, a lot of times line type scale should really be 0.5 for inch drawings, so that, notice it looks okay there. That's pretty cool. Over to inch. Yep, it's going to show up. If I were to do a Z, enter E as in extents. And then now this time I'm going to make it half size, okay? So I'm going to make it 1 to 2. Because if I do 1 to 1, watch. 1 to 1. It doesn't matter how close you put them together, it's not going to work right. So we'll do 1 to 2. And you're probably like, well, you didn't have to change your limits. Well, no, I didn't. It was close enough to where it's not going to mess up. If it had been much bigger, then we probably would have needed to make it a little bit bigger on the limits. But it's just like when you go from inch to metric, where it's such a large difference that AutoCAD kind of freaks out and it won't let you draw. So that's why we have to, for metric drawings especially, change your limits. Now, if you were drawing house plans, you'd also have to change your limits because they're a lot larger as well. Okay, so there's the drawing. I think it looks okay. I don't think there's anything wrong. Looks pretty good. We got all the holes. We got the chamfers. We got the center lines. We got the hidden lines. Yep, I think it looks okay. So we'll deactivate that and we'll go to save. Update the fields. Insert. Update fields. Enter and save it again. All right. Okay. Any questions on 4-12? Yep.
The center lines, how about just the size?
LTS. Line type scale. LTS. Yep. See you later. All right, so we did 412. Let's double check what ones we got to do again. All right, so we've done 4-1, the ortho projection, 4-2, 4-3, 4-7, 4-8, 4-11, 4-12. So we got 2 more. So I'll go ahead and get these last 2 done. That way on Thursday, you guys can just work on this and pull your hair out and all that other fun stuff and ask questions. How about that? Well, don't pull your hair out. We don't want you to do that. Anyway, so 4-15. So 415 is actually also an inch drawing. Imagine that. All right. So we'll click on the little plus and let's look at our drawing. How big is it? It is 3 inches by 2 inches by 1.75. That seems to be a theme today of variations of that size. But anyway. No, just got choked. It's all good. Okay. Sound like the guy on TV. Anyway. All right. Okie doke. So now on this one, if you draw the right side view, I'm going to count off because I'm telling you not to draw the right side view. I'm telling you to draw the left side view. And you're going to say, why? Well, the reason why is simple. The left side view has less hidden lines than the right side view. It's only one different, but it's still there. So if we look at the block that we have here, and I know it looks tiny, they're all whatever there, but when you look at this side, you got the angle. Well, on this side, you got these 2 lines, right? Well, if you look at it from this side, the angle becomes the hidden line. So that's 1. If you look at it from this side, the 2 lines become hidden. Well, that's 2. So you draw it from this side, which is the left, you've got less hidden lines showing. So therefore, we're going to do a left side view. Excuse me. That's what I get for trying to drink something. Anyway, that's what we're going to do. Now, line type scale, I could go ahead and tell you, is probably going to be smaller on this one. Again, so since we don't have to change our limits on this one, it'll be fine. You know, there's plenty enough space for it. Then I am going to change my line type scale after I hit escape and get back into that, LTS, and I'm going to make it 0.5. So what you're going to find is depending what makes line type scale work. Why do I change it? Well, part of it is the resolution of your computer. So you guys at home, if yours doesn't look exactly like mine, that's okay. The thing that I want to see is that you actually looked at it and said, oh, I can't see that very well. I need to make that smaller, or I need to make it bigger. And, you know, that's what I'm looking for. So, you looking for Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know. He'll be in somewhere from now till 3, I guess.
Okay, I texted him earlier. He said he should be here around 2. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, then he'll be here around 2, I
We'll
guess.
see.
He's a little slower now, but
heard.
anyway,
I've heard.
yeah. But anyway, he'll be here.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Alrighty. So anyway, like if you have a laptop, sometimes what'll happen is you have a different resolution than I do on my computers here at school, and or like when I'm at home, I'm grading on my laptop, so the line type scale will be different. As long as I can see that you're actually looking at it and going, oh, I need to change this, I'm going to give you credit for it. Otherwise, I'll mention, hey, you need to adjust your line type scale, or at least be looking at it. So if you see that, that's all that means. Okay. So I changed it to 0.5 just because I've drawn this thing about 50,000 times, and I get, anyway. And okay, so this is an old drawing. You know how I can tell? Because it has the word through on it. We don't use that. In fact, we if it goes, not all the way through, we put a note that says, hey man, it has a depth. So don't ever put through when you're dimensioning, because that's not good. That's wrong. Or it's an old practice, so we don't do it. So just leave it off. It would be the incorrect passe way of doing it. So anyway, all right. Let's see. Object. What do you want to do? You want to do the front view first? Why not? Let's draw a front view. All right. It is 3 wide, and it is 1.75 tall. And I did it again. Me and this mouse are not jiving. Or I'm just jumpy. I don't know. There we go. There's a box. I don't know. Sometimes I think it's easier just to use a rectangle and just draw the silly thing. Let's see. What did I say it was? 2 inches. 2, 1.75. No, I went the wrong direction. I should have done negative. See, it does help to put it in the correct way, either positive or negative. You got it, dude?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So you were right. Mr. Anderson's here. He is now in the building. Okay. Let's see. Top view is going to be 2 by 3. Let's see. Did I draw this right? Measure. Yep. Okay. All right. Top view. I'm just going to do my box method because I want to. 2 by 3. So it's 3, 2. There we go. All right. So top view, front view, left side view. All right. Then I'm going to explode it because if I don't, it'll be a pain. So there we go. All right. So now we could draw our shape here on the front. There's these pieces over here, which I just goofed up. So offset 0.25, enter. There we go. All right, and then looks like you have to come in an inch, so you're going to offset an inch, like that. All right, there's that. And then we got to come over 1.5, so offset 1.5. And we'll offset that over to there. We'll extend up. There we go. All right, so now we got this little piece down here. So we're going to offset 0.5. Yep, like so. And then trim that out. And I didn't want to do that. Didn't want to do that. Let's go back. All right, let's try that again. Why is that doing that? Okay, okay. There There we go. All right. There we go. So there's your front view, most of it. Okay. So offset 1.5. Got to offset this back like that. And then you got to draw a line back here like this. All right, got that. And then we got a hidden line for this one up here. So you got to change your layer. All right, so there's that. Now I got to put in my hole. So there's two holes. So they're in the top and the bottom, but they're just up here in the front. It says 0.5, so you got to offset 0.5. And I need to switch back. Right? So you got to draw your diameter circle. And it looks to be 2x 0.5. So 0.5. Okay. Let's see. I've already saved this now. I'm going to go ahead and save it just because P4-15 92325. All right. So I got most of the top view done. Now I can project down to the front view. All right, so there's a line, need to be in the hidden line. Yep, need to be hidden lines. Draw some lines down, draw them down to here. That way you can just trim it out. And I'm going to slice trim that one. There we go. All right, so we just have our lines here. And since I changed my line type scale to 0.5, it looks a little better. So here, let's see what LTS looks like if I were to make it 0.25. Now that might actually be better. So depending on your settings, 0.25 or 0.5 might work better. It just depends. But it'll be less than 1 typically. All right, so again, I'm not going to draw the line off the corner of here because I already have these established at probably different distances, so it doesn't work. So I just draw my lines up and over, and then I make a 45-degree angle line like so. No big deal. All right. So on this end, the reason I wanted to draw it is because these two surfaces here will be solid. So I can change layers again. Go to object line, draw me a line, draw it over, draw it over, and then we'll trim it up. All right, now we got to figure out where this angled line is, right? Well, I'm going to go ahead and change back to hidden because I need to draw hidden. And I'm going to draw a line over to here because that's where it would be. And then I need to project this one over and down to right there. And then I can just connect back over to here. All right, so there's that. Okay, the last thing I think I need to do, besides my center marks, is to draw my lines from here over, down. And you're going to have to do some trimming. And those two, and get rid of those two. And so it looks like that. All right, so here we go. Looks like all we need to do now are put in some center marks. Now, this one's inches, so we don't have to change anything. So, center mark. It's on the wrong layer, but that's okay. We'll just go here, change it, put it on the right layer. Let's see, center, and then make sure we're on the right layer, so we're on center layer. All right, go to center line. And keep doing these until you get done. So you got those two, and you got those two, then you got these two. All right. Okay, so we whipped that one out pretty quick. Any questions on that guy? So you're going to draw a left side view. Ooh, she's doing it ahead of time. Make sure it's at 45 degrees. Do you have your color set to 15 degrees? If you have your color set, then it will lock on. So just pick and draw it up and put it at 135. So, all right, now put it at 135. Now, if you wanted to make sure it was at 135, you could have, instead of picking, I could have hit the tab. Can I show you something? Let me show you something. I feel like you missed something. So, down here on this guy right here, see how it's set to 90? Let's put it on here. Life works a lot easier. So if you draw your line there, and then you pull it over to where it locks, 135, then you know for sure it's at 1. Yours was, but anyway, just saying. That's how you can be for sure. Make sure it's right. But that's one way you can do it. Okay, so now I do have somebody, they drew these two views and then they drew a line up at 45, which would have been fine to work on their side. So there is a way you can do it. Whatever works for you. Like I said, nobody ever does it the way I do it, and that's okay. I don't get butthurt over it. It'll be fine. So activate. Z enter, E enter. Zoom extents basically is what we did. Scale it 1:1, see what it looks like. Beautiful. Deactivate it and save it. Update your stuff. Enter. Save it again. All right, last one. Okay, this one's metric. So the reason that we have to change the limits is because on metric it won't work. It'll quit drawing and you'll be out of luck. And yes, I know you're not on this one, but I need to get this done so that I can go ahead and get this saved and uploaded and let you guys watch it again and again and again without me talking. So there you go. All right, so first thing we're going to do, limits. 0, 0 is bottom corner, upper corner. What are we going to do? It's 450 by, 250 by 225. That's pretty big. So let's see, that's going to be close to 700. So you know what? Let's just go all out. Let's make it 1,000 square. 1, 2, 3, 1,000, comma, 1,000. And where did I pull that number out of? Well, you don't want to know. I just pulled it out of nowhere. It's a magic number. Why? Because it's big enough. Because you got 450 plus 250. Well, that's 700. Well, 1,000's definitely bigger than 700, and that'll give you plenty of room. So that's what we're going to do, and it works for me. Now, don't forget, you got to zoom all or zoom extents, and now you're ready to draw. So first thing I'm going to do before I start drawing is change my line type scale, and I'm going to make it 12. Probably going to have to end up making it 16 or something, but we'll see. Okay, this one's going to have a right side view. We're going to do 3 views. I'm probably going to work on the front view first and then work my way around. We're on the object view, object layer, and let's just start drawing. So I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to draw it over 225, and I did it again. Me and this mouse are not jiving, so I'm going to hold it, mouse. 225. There we go. I'm going to go down 25 because I'm starting from the bottom left corner, and it actually goes over and down. Okay, and then 225 to 325 is 100, so I'm just going to put in 100, and then I should have just gone out to the 450. So you know what, we're just going to draw us a line up, and the whole thing's 225, so if you take 25 off of that, that'd be a 200. So that gets me that. This is 150, and so sorry, I'm getting a little off track, but anyway, I'm going to offset the whole thing 450. Really? There we go. Let's see. This front little piece is 50 before it starts your angle. And then I think you can draw your angle up here like that. Let's see if that looks right.
Yeah.
That is you.
No, I'm someone else today.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so yeah. So I should have drawn a line up from here because I wasn't paying attention. So I got to go to offset, put in the 325 again, and offset this over. And you're like, well, where did that line come from? Well, if you look on there, you've got a little indentation here where this is the outside edge and then it goes in, and we'll show it on the top view. So like if I were to come up here and draw this line over and then do this like so, 450, and then the whole thing is, what was it, 250? Yep. All right, and then we'll just do 450 because we know that's how big it is, and we'll just make us a box, right? Then you can draw your line across from here up like so, trim it out like so, and I'm going to offset this down 200, right? And then we're going to draw this line up here like this. And this is that little notch I was talking about. So I'm just going to edit this down to here, and then I'm going to trim it out. There we go. Okay, so I know I did that a little fast, but that's kind of the basis of our shapes here. The next thing you got is you got a couple of holes up here in the top. $50. So offset 50. offset 50, and then that one's 125, 125, 125. There we go. And this one is off of here, 225. All right. So then you got to draw a circle. We're on diameter. It's 0.5, no, 50. Not 0.5, it's 50. Imagine that. And then diameter circle, 25. Okay. So that's all I can do for now in the top view and the front view. Well, I mean, I could do this, the hidden lines right here. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Hidden lines, bring your holes down. Now you'll notice that these holes only go down to this line right here. So in the side view, we need to make sure they agree. Okie doke. So make sure that we do that. All right. And I'm going to precise trim. So pick that first, then go to trim, get rid of it. Okay. Side view. Well, before we get to the side view, let's just go ahead and do this. This surface actually goes all the way through here. If you had a model of this and you were looking at it and you flipped it upside down, you would actually see there's a notch cut down in here. And so if you look at your drawing in the book, it shows that there's a little notch over here in the side. So we'll draw that next. So I'm going to go and change this over to the object layer. And well, actually, you know what? We'll do this. I'll draw my line off of here, and then I'll do my 45. And then I can draw my line down. Right? And then we can draw some lines over. And that'll help us out. Okay. And we can project the top of it over. Okay. And then we can get this side here. Like so. Alright, so there's a line. You draw a line from here over, like so. And then there's that guy. And now we need to draw this notch in. Well, actually we need to do some more, but anyway, there's lots to do. We can draw this notch in. Bring that over and down to right there. And this gets trimmed off, as does this. And that. Okay. All right, last thing we need to do before we put in the holes over here would be this notch. And it says that it comes 50 off of here, so we're going to offset 50. And then it comes over 100, so we're going to offset over 100. And it's 25 tall, so we're going to go up 25. And then we're going to trim it out. All right. Now, you'll notice that this notch is here. It's 25 tall. Well, there's 25 difference between here. So when you look at the top here, there's actually some hidden lines that are missing. So we can actually project from here, up to here, and over under here somewhere. And then we can do the same thing here. Bring this guy up and bring this guy over somewhere in there. You're saying, what do you mean somewhere over in there? Well, if you project this little notch here that's cut out on the bottom, it comes up here like so. And then you have to do some trimming, which obviously we can get rid of that. And then this right here, and that, and that. And see, so this little piece here is right here and right here, which means I got something missing on this view as well. I should have a hidden line coming across like so. Is that you, Evan, or is that somebody else?
It's
Is
someone
that
else.
you?
It's someone else.
I got you. What?
Will we still need one of the, what's it called? The key tunnels? The thing that lines?
What do you mean?
I'll get it.
Yeah, come up here and show me what you're talking about, because I don't. You'll have to explain what you mean.
Nope, I think I'm wrong. I
So
was thinking
this is
about-
your notch.
Yeah,
That's this notch here.
Yeah.
This back here, you know, that's under here.
I didn't realize that notch disappeared.
That's what it looks like.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Like I said, it's you got to kind of think about it. And like I said, I have the models printed out. That's why, you know, sometimes it's hard to visualize what it looks like. It's okay.
Thanks, Mr.
You're good. No problem. Okay. So, so Evan, do you see where I'm talking about as far as how this notch is cut out and how it works?
I think so. What would you just? Yeah, I think I do.
Okay. So basically you've got the notch in the side, which is the same up as up here in the top with the narrower area. Because when that notch goes through, when it gets back on the front view to this little drop down here, or drop up, whichever way you want to call it, that means, you know, this is all gone. Well, that's where, you know, the notch and this are the same level. So that's why you have it, and it kind of breaks out into an open area here. So this piece right here and this piece right here are the only pieces that come down the full, you know. Anyway, it's okay if you don't get it. It's fine. So I still need to put my hidden lines for the holes. Now, it's very important that when you put these in, you got to remember that they only come down to the hidden line. They don't go all the way down through here, because if you look over here, they're over where this is up, right? So it's even with the hidden line here, which would be the same as this hidden line. So they only go down to there. And let's see, draw a line. The fun part comes when we put in the center lines. That makes it even more fun. There we go. Sometimes you have to zoom in because it'll hook to the wrong thing. Because I want it to be 90. Go. And then we'll trim it up. And get rid of that. Okay. So now I've got the holes in the front. I got them in the side, and I got everything up here. Got the notches, got all that. Hidden line should be good. So we'll go to center and annotate, Okay, so this is the other one where you need to type in center exe. So you're going to type in center exe to change this to at least 3. But here's the thing. Since you're going to scale this thing down 1 to 4, okay? So it's going to be quarter size. Since it's going to be quarter size, you could actually multiply the 3 that it would normally be. So 3 times 4 would be 12. So let's see what 12 looks like. It may be too big, but we'll try it. We'll see if, mathematically it should work, but we'll see. So let's change it to 12. All right. Now, if you forgot and you went ahead and put them in, then you're going to have to go into properties, pick them, go to property, right click, go to properties and adjust the extensions. But if you think about it and, oh, that's metric, I got to make them bigger. Center exe. All right, center marks. Let's try them. All right, let's pull it down here where we can see. All right, it doesn't touch it. It looks like it touches it, but it doesn't. So I guess I'm okay with that. I don't know. We may do 9. Here, you know what? I'm done with those. I'm just going to check it. So, like I said, if I needed to fix it, I'd right click, properties, and if I wanted to change it to 9, let's say, I could change it to 9. All right. I'm sorry, but I think I like that better. Yeah, so I'm going to go with 9. So when you put them in, set your center exe to 9 on this one, or change the extensions to 9 if you, anyway, and you'll be good to go. All right, so that was an easy fix. I'm going to go back and do my center exe again, change it to 9 so that I don't have to fix these center lines. And let's put in these pesky center lines. So there's one for there. And then there's one for there. All right, now, the problem with this one is, remember we talked about line precedence? Well, what happens when I do this? Uh-oh, we got a problem. I got a center line on top of this. How do I fix it? Well, it's really easy. All you have to do is pick on it. And notice that you have a grip you can change. So if you'll drag the grip up to like right there, and what you want to do is you want to leave just a little bit of a gap, okay? And what this does is it still gives us the center line like we want, but it also, it's not crossing over the dot or the solid line, okay? Now, how far of a gap, I don't care. Just make sure there's a gap. And that's what it's supposed to look like. All right, so let's look. We've got center lines, we've got hidden lines, we've got everything, I think. All right, there we go. Okay, so now for the fun part. We go over here to metric. We can't see anything because it's huge. Activate it, zoom, extents, and then we're going to change it to 1 to 4. Oops, sorry. Now, maybe my line type scale is too big. Let's see. LTS. All right, right now I've got it set to 12. What happens if I change it to 6? I actually like that better. What happens if I change it to 3? Oop, that's too much. How about 5? How about 8? It helps if you go back and get into the right command. All right, let's go back to 6. All right, let's go to 8. Now here's the thing. Okay, so this is what 12 is supposed to be. Did it look like that before? No. You know what I forgot to do? forgot to hit regen. So what happens is, if it doesn't look right when you go over here, if you'll just type in RE for regenerate, what it does is it just refreshes the screen and it fixes all of the scaling and everything. So when I did the line type scale, it did a regen. And that's why, yeah. So anyway, so that's 12. So 12 actually does work, I think. Let me double check. Let me see. We zoom up. Well, let's not zoom up here. I've got it scaled. So let's deactivate now. Now I can zoom up. So I look at it. Yep, that's okay. That's fine. Yep. So that looks okay. So I'm pretty happy with that. That'll work. So so we're going to save this one. This is the last one. So this one is P417, P4-17, 92325, and let's see, last thing you want to do, update your fields. So you go to insert or you type in UP and you insert your fields, update your fields. Enter, and then save it, and that's it. So I know I went through them really fast, but they're on video. If you have questions, and obviously, you know, when you guys go through these, ask questions. But you're going to have all day Thursday, all class Thursday to work on them. And that's all I have to say about this. So I'm going to go ahead and close things out. Are you okay, Evan, at home? Anything? Anybody else at home?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close out, and we'll see you Thursday. All right. So let's see.